Hi everyone. This is an overview of how to do Dowel Back Lifts. So this is a movement for mobilizing shoulder blade, shoulders, your rotator cuff primarily. Going to take your dowel or towel or whatever object you've been using for these movements. You're going to grab it in your hands about a foot or so away from your hips. You might have to adjust once you start moving. So make sure you got weight evenly distributed in your feet. Knees are slightly bent, glutes are engaged, core is engaged, head's up nice and tall. Right? So you're driving your head up, keeping your ribs nice and relaxed. So you're going to think about lifting this dowel up nice and high and then relaxing it down. So big exhale, big inhale. Now, if you have your hands too narrow, so you notice not quite directly underneath my elbow there, you want to go wider. If your hands are too wide, you want to go in so that your hand is directly under your elbow as you start lifting up. So nice big exhale, keeping that head extended up, back and forth with this. The goal here is to try and think about bringing your elbow forwards because you're working on the internal rotation of your shoulder joint and hitting all of the rotator cuffs involved with that motion. It can get pretty, I'm not going to say crampy, but it can fire up some muscles that maybe you aren't used to using. So if you do find that you get any kind of really tight, essentially a cramp, it's not quite the same. It's a neurological misfire. If you do find that, relax, give yourself a little breather, stretch out that area, try it again, and see if you can change slightly how you're doing that movement, and it should feel better after a few times going through that. So unfortunately that can happen when you're doing new kinds of movements in kind of end range positions. So if you're really struggling with this one, it's really uncomfortable on the shoulder, maybe you've had injuries in the past and it doesn't want to move that way, whatever issue it is causing that, you can do this up against a wall. You just stand up nice and close to the wall, put your hands on the wall, and then lift up and down. Up and down. Alright, you want to get to that same elbows directly over your wrist, sort of. And then as you're doing this, you can think about bringing your elbows closer. And then once you're feeling more comfortable with that, you can come off the wall, do it freestanding, and then try it with some other object. And I find this really gets in the front of my shoulder and then along the top line of my shoulder blade. You might feel it somewhere entirely different, but primarily you want to feel it in the shoulder blade region and in your shoulder joints. So if you're feeling it like somewhere else, if it's locking up in the rib cage, in the neck, something, try to just reset how you're doing it. Keep that head extended up, abs engaged. So try it out. It's a really good movement for the shoulders because it puts them in a position that we don't normally do, and that's actually really good for that joint health. So enjoy.